Imagine a 6-year-old asking 100 questions a day about stars, bugs, time travel, or why the sky is blue. Now fast forward 10 years, that same kid, now 16, barely asks anything. Why? Because somewhere along the way, questions became less important than answers, and those answers had to fit on a test. Let's talk about how we got here. Will this be on the test? What happened? Somewhere along the way, we traded curiosity for compliance. We replaced the thrill of discovering why with the pressure of getting a grade. Learning used to be about wonder, growth, exploration. Now it's about performance, rankings, and results. Today, grades are becoming more important than learning, and it's hurting our kids, our education system, and our future. Let's dig into how this happened, and more importantly, what we can do about it. Grades were never the villain. In fact, they started off as a helpful tool, a way to track student progress, a rough gauge of how well someone understood a topic. But over time, they became something much more powerful and much more dangerous. Instead of just measuring learning, grades became the goal. Students began to focus less on understanding and more on performing. A lesson wasn't valuable unless it contributed to a test. A class wasn't important unless it affected GPA. And suddenly, we weren't cultivating thinkers. We were training performers. This is the heart of the issue. When grades become the goal, learning becomes a chore. Education becomes transactional. What do I need to know to get an A replaces what do I want to understand? Curiosity dies in the shadow of the scoreboard. Let's be honest. On paper, a high GPA looks great. It opens doors to scholarships, college admissions, and sometimes even job interviews. But what's the cost? First, we lose creativity. True learning requires risk. It means making mistakes, trying out new ideas, sometimes falling flat. But our school systems don't reward risk, they punish it. A student who thinks outside the box and offers a unique but incorrect answer gets a lower grade than one who memorizes the textbook. So what do students learn? Play it safe. Don't take chances. Stay in the box. Second, we lose passion. A student might be obsessed with astronomy. They stay up late watching space documentaries, building telescopes, reading Carl Sagan. But in school, astronomy is just chapter 7 of the science textbook. It comes with a worksheet, a quiz, and an arbitrary deadline. Passion becomes performance, and slowly the student begins to lose their love for the stars. Third, we sacrifice mental health. We live in a culture where a single bad grade can feel like a catastrophe. Students feel intense pressure, not to learn, but to succeed, to maintain their class rank, to keep their GPA perfect, to avoid disappointing their parents. The fear of failure becomes paralyzing. Anxiety and burnout become common companions in the classroom. We're raising a generation of kids who are stressed, overworked, and exhausted, not because they don't care, but because they care too much about the wrong things. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about students. This is a systemic issue. Schools, colleges, parents, and even employers contribute to this obsession with grades. Parents often ask, "How did you do on the test?" before asking, "Did you enjoy the lesson?" The message is clear: performance greater than interest. Colleges filter applicants using test scores and GPAs, even when these numbers say very little about a person's character, creativity, or potential. A student who barely scraped by in high school but built an app that helps the visually impaired might be passed over for someone with a pristine transcript, but no real-world initiative. Employers, ironically, are now starting to see the cracks. They're realizing that top students aren't always top performers in the workplace. A person's ability to memorize facts doesn't always translate to critical thinking, collaboration, or innovation. And yet many companies still demand transcripts and academic records during hiring. The result? We've created a society where numbers determine worth, and that's not only inaccurate, it's dangerous. Think of the people who've changed the world. Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, Elon Musk, Maya Angelou, Richard Branson. Many of them didn't follow traditional academic paths. What they had in common wasn't a perfect GPA. It was curiosity, resilience, and a deep passion for their work. Learning in the real world looks nothing like school. It's messy, it's self-directed, it involves trial and error. It's fueled by questions, not just answers. And guess what? Kids want to learn. If you've ever seen a child build something in Minecraft, master a skateboard trick, or learn a TikTok dance on their own without a teacher, you know it's true. The drive to learn is natural. The love of learning is innate. It's the system that often beats it out of us. So, what can we do? Let's be clear. I'm not saying we eliminate grades overnight, but we need to rethink their importance and recenter the conversation on learning itself. 1. Ask better questions. Instead of "what grade did you get?" ask "what did you find interesting?" or "what surprised you today?" These questions validate curiosity, not just performance. 2. Value process over results. Encourage students to show their thinking, to reflect on their mistakes, to explore ideas, even if they get the answer wrong. Learning doesn't happen at the moment of success. It happens at the edge of failure. Third, diversify assessments. Move beyond multiple choice tests. Let students present projects, write essays, build prototypes, or teach others. These methods don't just test knowledge, they deepen it. 4. Celebrate curiosity. Give students time to explore topics that fascinate them. Genius hours, passion projects, independent studies. Give them ownership over their learning. 5. Redefine success. Remind students and ourselves that being a good learner doesn't mean being perfect. It means being curious. It means asking great questions. It means loving the journey, not just the destination. So the next time someone brags about their GPA, try asking them, "What are you most curious about?" If they don't know, it's not because they're lazy or uninterested. It's because the system never gave them room to ask. We need to build a world where questions matter more than answers, where grades don't define potential, where learning is driven by wonder, not worry. Let's stop grading intelligence and start growing it. Let's raise students who love to learn, not just those who know how to perform. Because learning is not about the number on a paper. It's about the fire in your mind and the courage to keep that fire burning.